You're watching Car and Driver, winner of 4 International Automotive Media Awards for excellence in broadcasting.
You might not have thought about it, but the cars that get produced are determined by generational lifestyles. I'm one of the reasons we're getting so many 2-seat roadsters, so those of us who are aging baby boomers can shift the 6-speed and zoom off into retirement. Generation X is now making babies and settling down, so they're the reason for new minivans and small sport utilities. But coming up is Generation Y, just about to turn 20 and become a force in the market. And right now, the automakers are trying hard to figure out what to build for them. Here's who they are, doing their thing with gravity and wheels. Honda hired a team to ride the vert ramp at the Detroit show to recreate a bit of the X Games. Honda's designers spent weeks hanging with these kids to learn what they want in a vehicle. Is all their stuff loaded inside, with apparently little concern for how it drives. So the surfboards revealed the result, the Model X redone CR-V. But Honda is hedging their bet, introducing the all-new Civic Si in New York with a new 2-liter VTEC engine making 160 horses, and with a 5-speed shifter mounted in the dash. The new Si should keep the import drag racers interested, but you'll notice the camback wagon shape does have room for lifestyle stuff. You'll remember Pontiac is going the same way on the small, hot station wagon idea with the Vibe GT introduced in Detroit, upping the gear count to a 6-speed and the horsepower to 180. But the ultimate in both excitement and in horsepower has to be Suzuki, bringing in their factory-sponsored motocross champion and X Games freestyle jumper Travis Pastrana to pull big air over their SX concept. And a front brake endo then to amaze the old guys in the auto press. But Travis understands perfectly what this is about. It's about 17-year-olds like him.
The younger market is definitely what they're going for with this car. It's kind of a more of a fast-paced, younger generation look to it, but I really like it myself. I just saw it today for the first time. It's pretty neat, but definitely they're trying to get to the younger market, and I think through me or any extreme sports is hopefully the way to go.
Suzuki's idea on the way to go is quickly, with all-wheel drive and 220 supercharged horses in the SX concept. The only question is, how do you haul that dirt bike? You should be picking up on the marketing strategy, the same marketing strategy currently being employed by Ford in their commercials for the Ranger Edge, with freestyle motocross star Carey Hart.
Ford Ranger Edge, equipped with an in-dash CD changer and 4 motivational speakers.
The Ranger isn't new, but it does have room to actually carry a dirt bike. But New York also brought the new production Acura RSX, replacing the Integra with 200 horses in the Type S version and a 6-speed tranny for the dance. And there's no suggestion of hauling anything but you're behind. And that brings us to the other appeal being tried on Generation Y. The effort to build something that follows their interest in World Rally Cup competition. Toyota is in on this with their RSC concept, the rugged sport coupe. And Pontiac with their all-wheel drive Rev. And Mitsubishi has a Lancer OZ Rally Edition. Sadly, without all-wheel drive and turbo, those goodies are found in the Evol 7, which is only available overseas. But Subaru is finally importing their turbo power for the WRX, but not in the rally car coupe version. But all of this is here for Gen Y and their active lifestyles, according to the marketing research that also gave us the Pontiac Aztec more than a year ago. That's now the free wheels for Survivor winners. All combinations of ideas intended for the next generation, and all what the automakers think they may want in their wheels.
The Suzuki SX is a perfect example of one of these crossovers intended towards the active lifestyle. Now, I think this is a lot of marketing doublespeak at this point, but they're actually trying to do a vehicle there that's got some power and performance and still has some carrying capacity. And if you can do that at a decent price, and I'm sure that vehicle will have one, that's going to attract a young buyer.
For more information on today's stories, log on to caranddriver.com, the enthusiast automotive resource.
Well, I've still got some of that baby boomer 6-speed stuff to do, but we have come to the last page of this edition of Car and Driver. For all of us, I'm Jim Scapp. We'll see you next time.
Edition of Car and Driver.
It's showtime once again in Detroit for the biggest of the U.S. auto shows, with no shortage of new excitement coming to follow up a record sales year for the automakers. There's new sports cars, new sport utilities, and new trucks, unveiled with the promise that most everything here is going to turn up for sale in the years ahead. Well, there is no show quite like Detroit for theatrics. Most often, we know what we're going to see before it happens. But not in the case of Dodge, who had everyone believing it would be the new Ram pickup in the industrial strength barrel. But it wasn't. It was the 2003 Viper RT10 convertible, with considerable refinement, a real convertible top, and a promise of at least 500 horsepower. Then there was BMW with fewer fireworks, but a world premiere nonetheless, pulling the drape off their version of open-air sport, the M3 convertible. And then Carlos Ghosn, the Frenchman sent by Renault to rescue Nissan.
Nissan is back.
And back in this case means a new Z car.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Z.
The promise? This version is very close to production, with 260 horses and a price tag under $30,000. Want more sport? Mazda's coming too, bringing back the rotary engine.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been waiting for this day for a long time. I'm pleased and very excited to introduce the next big thing in sports car, the Mazda RX-8.
Mazda's promising 250 horses in the four-door, four-seat RX-8. By the way, your Diablo is still waiting for you if you're saving up for that dream. But you're too late for the Ferrari 550 Barchetta Pininfarina. All 448 copies in the limited edition have sold at $270,000 each. But Porsche will still be happy to build you a Carrera GT to your order with a mid-mounted V10 making 550 horses and a high-mounted 6-speed in the console. It's a bargain for 2003 at $325,000. Or consider the 911 GT2 with 462 horsepower and a 0 to 60 time of 4.1, a steal at $179,900. Mercedes has a more affordable thought for sport, the new C-Class Sport Coupe, a 3-door hatchback coming this fall, starting under $30,000. But the drum roll from the 20 guys above the big screen was for the new C-Class wagon that may be one of the most stunning designs yet. Drums were definitely the in idea in Detroit, with Pontiac introducing the Vibe and bringing down the house with the return of an affordable station wagon, packing 180 horses and a 6-speed transmission and priced for the entry-level market. Honda is also trying to connect with a new breed of first-time buyers, people in baggy pants just graduating from skateboards and stunt bikes. Their concept, the Model X, aimed at Generation Y, one of those lifestyle things again to haul your stuff around.
It could be the way the next generation CR-V goes in order to make it more attractive to the youthful buyer as opposed to the suburban housewife who's the other different segment in SUVs. And I think it's probably a good approach. Whether it's exactly the right one, we'll see. But right now SUVs are becoming the standard suburban transport, and that does not make them desirable to the Generation Y, so you have to do something different, and they've sure done that.
But you could get pretty much the same thing from Saturn shortly, in the same paint even, as the different kind of sport ute gets closer to production. On the other end of the price scale, Cadillac introduced the Escalade EXT, the caddy pickup truck version of the Chevy Avalanche that's being whipped up to go against the Lincoln Blackwood. The truck news at Ford you've already seen, the new Lightning with 385 horses now, and the F-150 Harley Crew Cab limited edition. Ford's production news was a full showing of the new T-Birds in finished form and final colors. And with a new option back from the 60s, the Sport Coupe with the back seat covered by a hard tonneau. Then there's Acura's new sport option, the RSX Concept, that is understood to be the replacement for the Integra. Or would you like your excitement from Subaru with the 227 horsepower all-wheel drive Impreza WRX finally coming over from Japan? And then the new Jeep, the Liberty, the replacement for the Cherokee, with a new V6 engine, independent front suspension, and a beefy chassis tested on the Rubicon Trail. But that may be a problem with the Ford Escape as competition.
The market will have to decide whether it's a good idea to keep Rubicon crossing capability. As far as an Escape, a lot more light feeling, more nimble. You get a lot more performance for your 200 and some odd horsepower than you do in this car, which can weigh as much as 4,000 pounds.
Finally, the retro English car, redone by the Germans, recalling a vehicle most Americans have never seen, the Mini Cooper.
We're looking at two different versions of the Mini. Initially, we're going to see one with 115 horsepower, which should scoot along pretty well. We don't know exactly what the car weighs at this point, but the curb weight is going to be small because the car is small. And then the one that we're waiting for at Car and Driver is the 160 horsepower version, supercharged version that's going to come along, is the Mini Cooper S.
Just one more to look for in a record-setting list of new products. And so far, we haven't shown you the concepts. But we'll do that next.
Coming up, the concepts from Detroit, including the orphan that needs a home. Car and Driver, winner of 4 International Automotive Media Awards for excellence in broadcasting.
We did say Detroit was theatrical, didn't we? And here's the Dodge version of that, the Super 8 Concept, a 60s retro family sedan idea with a Hemi V8 and a radically different look from what's been designed in the last 30 years. Then there's the Willys Concept from Jeep with a supercharged 4 injection-molded body panels and white rubber tires to not leave a mark on the environment. We may be seeing something on the future of the Wrangler, but not too much, we can hope. This is the one we should hope will see production, the Chrysler Crossfire, a rear-drive 2-seater with a split windshield and a boat-tail fastback, powered by a supercharged V6, promising 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. Well, it would be if Ford actually decided to build their only concept for Detroit, the 49, that draws on the chopped and channeled history of past Fords and Mercs to put some excitement into a 2-door coupe.
Someone's going to buy a 2-door coupe. They want it to be either fast or they want it to look great. This 49 just looks fabulous. And it's based on the Thunderbird platform, which is really the Lincoln LS small Jaguar platform, so it's eminently buildable. And I think if Ford wants to establish its image, they need something to follow on with the T-Bird. So if they do the T-Bird and then do this 49 a couple years later, they'll really get something rolling, and that's what they want to do.
Oh, technically, Ford did have another concept from their Volvo division, the latest safety car, looking somewhat like a P1800 in the rear view, but with a number of new ideas like see-through A-pillars to eliminate blind spots. But the most significant idea may be the easy-to-use 4-point seatbelts.
Volvo was the one that came up with the 3-point in the first place. Everyone has obviously adopted that as a matter of regulation. These are 4 points, so you get 2 straps over your shoulders and a strap from each side, and with a center buckle. And it significantly reduces injuries from seatbelts. I think that more than anything else is probably the most critical element.
Now GM, with no shortage of concepts for this show, starting with a radical design for a crew cab pickup from GM of Brazil, the Sabia. Not necessarily the future of the S10, but an idea. Or consider the Terracross, another of those RoboCop ideas from GMC, but this time a sport utility design. This one struck us as more odd than exciting. But not the vision, the Cadillac interpretation of a future sport utility done with the knife-edge styling that we've seen in Cadillac concepts for the past several years. Then there was the Bengal, the convertible concept that took the signature Buick grille to a new extreme as Buick's designers experiment with the future of the brand. But the most stunning of the introductions was the Orphan, the 04 2+2 convertible introduced as an Oldsmobile just weeks after the announcement that the Olds brand was now dead. But the 04 could put some serious excitement into Saturn showrooms. We think this one needs a home somewhere at GM. And so does this idea that turned up on the show floor. The K5, a shortened up Tahoe with an open back and a third door for the rear seat. There hasn't been a short wheelbase off-roader with a strong V8 for a while, but there could be. Or there could be Audi's version of that idea, the Steppenwolf, not affiliated with the 60s rock band, but ready for rock crawling with beefy tires and an adjustable suspension. And finally, there was Volkswagen's newest idea for crazy Americans who went nuts over the new Beetle.
So we have this idea. I'm sure you like it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wonderful world of the microbus.
Really? The microbus? But hey, you can't complain about a shortage of ideas when it's showtime in Detroit.